Hello again, nice to see you back here. In the last video, I built this budget Stormtrooper PC with a Ryzen 5 2600X, 16GB of 3200MHz RAM, and an Asus Dual GTX 1070 from 2016. Yes, 7 years ago. So, that got me wondering, how does the 1070 perform in 2023? Since this PC could be built by a wide range of people, I'll test a variety of games covering multiple genres to give you an idea of general performance. The peripheral and monitor setup to test these builds for now is the SteelSeries Apex 3 keyboard, Rival 3 mouse, and Arctis One wireless headset, with the HP 24F 1080p 75Hz monitor. First in the lineup, we have a little game built by a single dev for fun called Deathly Stillness. I enjoy playing this one after updates come out to see how it's progressing, and as a way to get a very quick game in. As you can see, it runs well at 1080p high preset with an average of 89 FPS. So well, in fact, I left the 90 FPS frame limit on, not expecting it to hit it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this game tested with this card. Both the 1 and 0.1% lows seem to come from drops when you load the menu, but during gameplay it never went below 71 FPS. Great for a quick hit of gaming. The next one is City Skylines. I've never played this before, so I did a bunch of intro stuff and messed with controls a little bit. I might swap this out for Jurassic World Evolution or Evolution 2 because I know how to use those UIs. At 1080p default settings, I got an average of 67 FPS, a 1% low of 46, and a 0.1% low of 29. So, if you play a game like this one, you'll be able to get decent performance and probably much better if you change some graphic settings. Journey to the Savage Planet is one of those games that's just fun. It has great jokes, an enjoyable story, and gameplay that is easy to jump in and out of. I had it on Google Stadia, so I recently bought it on Steam to play through it again, and I'm glad I did. It's so much fun. When it comes to performance, at 1080p default settings, I got a 98 FPS average, 52 FPS 1% low, and 24.1% low.
And said there should be no sign of intelligent life here at all, and
this game feels buttery smooth if I'm honest. I'd probably max out the settings and turn on VSync to cap the frame rate at the monitor's refresh rate if it's 60 or 75 Hz as it is with this HP 24F. Of course, if you have a G-Sync or FreeSync display, that will be even better.
looks like it's gonna pop. Might want to get back. Just remember you did your best. It wasn't very good, but it was your best.
Underway. The next game is LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, a fantastic LEGO game that does so much right and is fun for all ages. I ended up having to leave VSync on as I was getting random crashes without it. This game easily got over 200 FPS. However, since we want stability, with VSync on, I got a super stable game with an average of 75 FPS, 1% low of 74, and a 0.1% low of 73. Not much else to say really, so it'll likely only be in the benchmarks this week as I'll replace it with something more challenging in the coming builds. I know some of you out there enjoy your sims like I do. Racing, flying, battle, you name it. So, to give you an idea of what you can expect, here's Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you want me to replace LEGO with Flight Sim in the benchmark lineup, let me know. As for performance, well, the 1070 makes 1080p with default settings look pretty straightforward. With an average of 65 FPS, a 1% low of 40, and a 0.1% low of 30, it says to me that you could run this on a higher refresh rate or higher resolution panel with some tweaks to the settings and using some FSR. Ignore my driving and the automatic assists. I was using a controller and not my sim rig, because I am not setting that up on every PC I build. Enjoy some Lexus RCF noises. On to Call of Duty Warzone 2. I haven't played this in over a month, and I'm reminded immediately that this game really hates the term optimization. The first test I did was 1080p at Ultra and got a measly 38 average FPS. It felt sluggish and pretty terrible right at the beginning of the level, and this gunfight was pretty dreadful as my aim sucks on a good day. So I found a hiding spot, opened the menu, and dropped the settings to balanced. After restarting the benchmark and playing through the rest of the DMZ match, it churned out an average of 56 FPS, a 1% low of 35, and a 0.1% low of 26. This was noticeably better. However, I would likely recommend one of two things to achieve a consistent 60, or in my case 75. I would turn down all non-essential graphical options or just use the low preset, or I would go up to high and use FSR or NIS to achieve the target. Depending on whether or not you can tell a visual difference might be the deciding factor for you. We'll see a lot more of these two upscaling tools over this week, as I'll be testing multiple GPUs to see how they perform. So, if you'd like to see that, subscribe to be notified. Let's move on to the last game. Cyberpunk 2077. Another title I bought on Stadia. I just didn't play it because, well, we all know why. After buying it for $22 during the Epic Winter Sale, I decided to wait until the Phantom Liberty expansion comes out, and then I'll stream it as a first-time player, meaning all the footage you see in any of these builds or tests will be the built-in benchmark. The first benchmark was native 1080p, medium preset with no FSR. The 8GB of VRAM is really helping the 1070, but it could only muster 44 FPS on average, a 1% low of 26, and an abysmal 0.1% low of 3.2. A drawback to the Pascal cards is that they do not have ray tracing or DLSS support, so there's no proprietary way to improve performance. If that's important to you, you'll need to look for a 20 series card or newer. Thankfully, AMD comes to the rescue here with FSR. Our second round was 1080p, high preset with FSR quality and 0.50 sharpening. This time, the 1070 succeeded in hitting a 60 FPS average, along with a 35 FPS 1% low and a still poor 0.1% low of 7.9. If the game you are playing doesn't support FSR, and you struggle to hit a consistent frame rate, there is also NVIDIA image scaling within the NVIDIA control panel or GeForce Experience to achieve a similar outcome. To reiterate, we'll see more of those this week. Using NVIDIA's GP104 chip combined with 8GB of GDDR5 and DX12 support, this is what I would consider an old but gold piece of hardware, especially for $73. And it should continue to churn out acceptable 1080p performance for a while longer. If your budget is rigid and you can get one under $100, it's worth the purchase. Otherwise, try to save a little more and find something with more power and modern features like a 5600 XT for $120 to $150. All of these benchmarks were done with as minimal, or in many cases, no adjustments to graphical settings as possible. Specifically, I chose to do this to give you a better idea of what you can achieve with this or a similar build, even if you don't know what you're doing yet. Another thing I noticed was that the temps on this 1070 were slightly concerning, so I'll pull this out and check for issues again while I'm testing the rest of the cards this week. Until then, thank you for watching, please do all the usual YouTube stuff. I've been Joss, I'll see you next time.